Welcome back to my channel. I thought I would do a little sit down with you guys and do kind of like a little life update slash chat with you guys. I just wanted to come on here and answer some questions and, like I said, just have a little sit down chat with you guys. I haven't done one of these in such a long time. I used to do like my mental health updates all the time and I love that. I feel like we really bonded and connected with one another and I got to know a little bit more about you guys. I just like the responses to these types of videos because they're just very vulnerable. So speaking of vulnerability, we have a sponsor for today's video and that is BetterHelp. Huge shout out to them for sponsoring today's video. You guys know I love BetterHelp. I've talked about them before. Therapy is something recently that has literally saved my relationship. I talked about this as well, but Z and I have been going to therapy and quite literally it saved us. We weren't against each other. We just didn't know how to communicate correctly to the other person. So we really learned not only our communication skills, we also learned how each other takes in communication as well. I'm a huge advocate for therapy, but it can be extremely expensive and it's also something that can be a little bit time consuming, especially if you need to shop around. You don't know what's right for you. There's all these types of therapies. So BetterHelp makes it really easy for you because you can do all of this from the comfort of your own home. You can shop around therapists. They're really easy to switch out. I've actually used a BetterHelp therapist. Didn't really bond too well and easily switched. Like it was no stress at all to me, which typically I get a little antsy when I do that because I get like in my head, I'm a very highly sensitive person. So like you literally just do it from your computer. So there's no harm done and you don't have to like have any sort of confrontation or feel guilty or whatever. Just a platform is a really good idea, I think, for therapy and having access to therapy. It's also super affordable. They do monthly subscriptions instead of per session, which I think is also an amazing benefit because typically in traditional therapy you pay per session and it is so expensive because a lot of insurances don't even cover it. There's just so many benefits in BetterHelp and you can do it all from your computer, phone. You can use video chat, they do messages. All of the therapists on BetterHelp are licensed therapists to give you unbiased advice and listen to you. So they are trained professionals and it's just an amazing service. So I will link them down below for you guys. They're giving you guys 10% off of your first month if you go to betterhelp.com/Renee Amberg or just click on my channel when you sign up. You also do a quiz that kind of gets you to the right therapist because again, there's different types of therapy. You could prefer a girl or a boy or a certain type of therapist that has a religious background or like whatever floats your boat, whatever you feel more comfortable with. They'll personalize it and like you will get the right therapist. And if not, again, it's so easy to switch out and shop around therapists on there. So linking them down below. Huge shout out to them for sponsoring today's video. I'm gonna dive right into the juicy ones, and I actually asked you guys this before I even posted my first video online, so I didn't give an update. But for those of you guys that missed my first video, a lot of you guys were asking, did I sell the house? Yes. Are you back in Tampa? Yes. Are you and Z together? Yes. Do you still have Arya? Yes. Arya is a freaking nutcase. I love her to death, but wow, she's kind of a crazy psycho, I would say. But she's huge, she's still a puppy, but she's grown so much. I feel like she's just like gonna be this gigantic lunatic. But we love her, and yes, we still have her. Love this question. This is a question that I get quite frequently on these type of videos. Is like, how are you doing really? This move for me is so happy and I feel so blessed to be here and I feel so at peace. But you get that high from moving. So I know deep down that like once we get settled, once I get into a routine, things are gonna get a little bit more, I would say, bland. It's not bland, it's just normal. I know those high moments will dissipate and life will kind of settle in and become more routine and normal. With that said, I'm extremely happy. I know I'm on a high. I know I'm extremely excited, but I think right now I'm a little stressed and anxious because like just getting the house together, like I said, I'm really in the state of just wanting to like hibernate and be like a homebody for a second because I feel like I was lacking that for so long and it's such a like monumental part of who I am. But to get my place into that space, I need to like get everything done. So I'm just feeling a little unsettled when it comes to like buying just random things. Like I'm kind of sick of just buying things, seeing it on Instagram of like everyone's consumerism, like, and you need this and you need this, and like you never knew you needed it until you saw it, and then you buy these things and you're like, why did I buy this? I need to just make sure that I'm making sure that I just buy things that I need, not necessarily want as much right now just because I'm buying a lot of things for the apartment. So I just think right now my headspace is more in terms of financial saving. as well as creating a home for my family. Yeah, just kind of settling in. That's where my headspace is at. So I'm doing good, but I'm a little overwhelmed, but it's not a bad overwhelm. Like I prefer this kind of overwhelm over things that have happened in the past. Why did I move? So I think I did touch on this a little bit, but the house itself was just a really big project that I didn't see myself wanting to go further down that path, because that's just not where my priority lies. I think it was a great house. It's a perfect home. I'm just not in that place in my life right now where I want to spend the next 5 years of my life and time to dedicate towards a house. Like, that's just not really where I want to be. I want to be more like living and like doing things and being around family and just, yeah. So that was like one of the main reasons for me. That was one of the main reasons, is just the dedication it took to upkeep that kind of house. It was just a lot. I actually saw someone had sent me a quote, and it's something I kind of touched on. It's like, when you get on the wrong train, you better get off at the next stop, because the longer you keep staying on that train, your fare is going to be very expensive to come home. It was one of those things where, like, I knew I made a mistake. I knew that it was a big mistake and I need to get out as soon as possible. Like, that's just kind of how I felt. A lot of people are asking about my mom. She's back in Tampa. That was my biggest thing though, because she was planning on moving to North Carolina with us and actually lived with us for a little bit, but she has some things and obligations in Tampa right now that are her priority. So it kind of worked out for both of us. And as much as I would never want to like live my life based around someone else's choices and decisions, the fact that she did that to be with us obviously played a huge role. And I don't think I would have moved if she wanted to stay there. That would have been like, I don't know. I don't even want to think about that because it's so stressful. But when I finally opened up to her, she was like, I'm going back too. I'm like, oh, is this not a sign? Pros and cons to North Carolina. I love North Carolina. I just think that we moved to a place that wasn't, I would deem as North Carolina. Like, when I think of North Carolina and where I used to go when I would go for Thanksgiving, it would be in the mountains. Like, I think of North Carolina as mountains, and we weren't around that. We were kind of just like in the boondocks. And as much as I did love it, like, the people there are so genuinely so sweet. The neighbors themselves, I wanted to pack up in a package and bring with us. They have been nothing but amazing and kind to us. Just the family oriented vibes I got from people, like, I don't know, that just was, it was nice. And they're very God-loving people. What else in North Carolina? There's like, you know, we could have done the beach and the mountains so they weren't too far away from us, but you get the best of both worlds when it comes to North Carolina, because you do get the beaches and that aspect of it. It's inexpensive. Like, that was one of the reasons why we moved in the first place. We were actually looking at homes in Florida. We were like, what the hell, we're getting this for this price is ridiculous. And then we like went to North Carolina and saw what we could get for the money that we would have spent here, and we were like, oh, it felt like we had the world at our hands. We're like, duh, why would we not do this? It's insane. I think it also played a role into how fast we moved. We were like, well, we could do this. So it was exciting. But any cons of North Carolina? Like I said, for me, it was just more the lifestyle of where I was living. I don't think all of North Carolina is like this, but it's just a little quieter, isolated, and not really much going on, which kind of made me a little mentally insane, not gonna lie. A lot of you guys are asking me about my faith. I have always had some sort of spiritual questioning and like curiosity to me. I go to church on Sundays. I definitely want to have Bryson have some sort of faith and like religion growing up, and I think it's good, but I don't know, sometimes I get really wrapped into that world and I put a lot of like pressure on myself, or I box myself up, where I tend to like feel like my perfectionism and like OCD is getting to me a little bit more when I get in that space. So I have to be careful not to get too, not, I would say crazy about it, but just like structured with it, or like labeling it. So I ebb and flow, and I think that's what I've learned over the years, is it's okay to like ebb and flow. And as long as you have some sort of spiritual realm that you're learning about or diving into, like, that brings me peace and fulfills my cup in that part of life. So yeah, I think right now, like, obviously I believe in the higher being. I think of God as like a light. I think a lot of religions have very similar concepts for a reason. They're great, you know, books of wisdom, and I don't really have any sort of like label with it. But yeah, I've been going to church. Like, it's there, it's definitely there, but I'm not going too crazy with it. I loved this question. At the same time, I felt very uncomfortable answering, because I'm such a like I don't know, I don't like things being all about me. I get very uncomfortable, but something I struggled with in North Carolina was my self-confidence. Like, I really didn't know who I was. Like, I didn't feel comfortable or confident at all, like, as a human being. And that was just like such a weird place for me to be in, and I don't think that's healthy at all. So I was like, this is probably a sign that I should probably answer this, just to like get out of my comfort zone a little bit. What are 3 things that you love about yourself? And I want you guys to answer too. Down below, I'll put like a thread or something. 3 things I love about myself. As of lately, I have the right goals and priorities. Like, I think my whole life I've always been geared towards the right things. Like, I never followed the wrong path, I would say. Always had my mind on the right things. The priorities I have here in Florida have been something that I'm very proud about. I feel like they are gonna make me a better person for not just myself, but society and my family as well, and the people around me. Another thing I love about myself, I do like my style. I think that I have an eye for decor and stuff, and I've realized a lot of you guys actually talk about this. You think I want to be an interior designer or whatever, but I really do love decorating spaces, and I have an eye for design. So that I think is really creative and fun about me. My brother was always like the artist growing up, so I always thought I would get good grades, and I like math. And so I never really looked at myself as creative, but what I do and, you know, how I decorate my space, like, I really do feel like I have that creative little touch that my brother has too, just in a different way. And then another thing I love about myself is I think I'm a good mom. Like, I love my son so much, and I'm not gonna say I am a good mother. I know I'm a good mother, and see, I can't even give myself a compliment. It makes me so uncomfortable. I never want to feel like I'm like bragging or something, but I do everything for him, and I feel like he lives a good life, and everyone that's ever come across him has said he's such an amazing child, and I think that just goes to show like the kind of parents we are to him and what we do with him and how we're raising him. So I feel like we're doing really good, and as a mother, I'm very proud of myself. Somebody asked me how they deal with Florida frizz, your hair. I was told by my aunt there's 2 things. When you move somewhere, you're either gonna have nice skin or nice hair, and one of them is gonna be sacrificed. And when you're in Florida, the humidity, like, your skin just flourishes. So focus on the skin, because if you live somewhere else, it'd be very dry and like not a good situation, but you'd have perfect hair. It's like, what would you rather have? And for me, I'd rather have perfect skin, but hair is a problem in Florida, but I lived with it my whole life. So I never feel like it's an issue. Like, I feel like it's just my hair. And if I go somewhere nice, I'm like, ooh, my hair looks so good. Like, it's not like I came here and I was like, oh my God, what happened to my hair? So I have that, but I use Pureology, the purple hydrating shampoo and conditioner. It's the only like good shampoo that I can use that makes my hair feel soft after, because sometimes it could be the water. Like, if you're in the Orlando area, the water is so harsh there. I went to school and people would buy like gallons of water to just do their hair. So maybe a filter or something if you have harsh water, and then a good straightener. Like, don't just do a blowout. Like, when you do a blowout, use a straightener on top of it, because if you just do a blowout, it's gonna frizz. I use Chi. Like, those are just quick and easy. Like, even if you're gonna curl your hair, just whack it over real quick with a straightener so that it won't frizz as much. That's the best I got. I don't think there was any more questions. That was like pretty much it. You guys were pretty much just asking about Xander and the house, which I feel bad for, because I should have asked this question. I should have asked you guys before, after I posted my first video. We'll do another one of these probably in the next few months. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in a future video.
A lot of things. I'd probably start with,
I like the way she smiles. She got me staring for a while. Got me staring for a while. Yeah, yeah. Baby, it's our conversation. She's my favorite notification.